Welcome to the Bootcamp Raw Podcast with our long-term Conquer Food guest Liz from Scotland. Welcome to Bootcamp Raw, Liz.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from.
I'm from a wee place called Black Lunans in the bottom end of Glenshee in North Perthshire.
Okay.
The start of the Highlands in Scotland.
Right. And you live on some sort of farm, don't you, or small holding?
I live on a shooting estate.
Right.
Yeah, and I have a little bit of land where I grow my own vegetables.
Yeah.
And quite passionate about that. And I have hens and geese and a crazy cat.
Awesome.
And a very understanding husband.
Yeah. Well, also you're into your fishing and
I do.
Hunting and things like this.
Yeah, I do. I really like fly fishing. And I used to be involved in a group to help get youths off the street, to give them an interest, and worked alongside the police in Perthshire. And we used to get the guys actively involved, both boys and girls actively involved in fly fishing.
Yeah.
Sometimes real fishing, but just fly fishing mainly. Yeah. It's all about getting them hooked, literally, catching in their first fish. Yeah.
I've had experience of working with underprivileged kids, and I found that fishing was an amazing activity just to focus. And it's almost like a little bit of meditation for them. They don't really need to catch a fish, do they? But I think it's the place that the fishing takes them. And just being in nature seems to have a really dramatic effect on their mental health.
And also being trusted with something. I mean, a fishing rod doesn't seem like very much, but you've got to learn to put it together. You've got a hook. You know, and it was, for a lot of them, it was about being trusted.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And you've got some other crazy occupations that you've done or do as well. Do you want to share some of them with us?
So, I used to be involved in bringing out Highland cattle for showing.
Yeah.
And I loved that. That was really interesting, and yeah, it was good. Can't think of anything else.
Landscape gardening?
Oh yeah, I do love landscape gardening. Yeah. I've got our own digger and tractor and trailer, and I really like working with big stones and wood, incorporating that into gardens.
Yeah.
And I really love developing rockeries, but not normal little flat rockeries on the side of hillsides, and using what's there and adding to it already. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're a woman of many mysteries, and you always throw things at me. I'm like, what? You do this and do that?
I used to play the bagpipes as well when I was a youth. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was in a miners' colliery band, the first female ever to be accepted into a male-dominated hobby.
Right.
It was a colliery band, Alloa colliery band. It was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Nobody doesn't like the sound of the bagpipes.
No, they don't, except my cat.
Right, okay.
I hated it.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome. So what brought you to TEAM Bootcamp then, and specifically the Conquer Food program?
So I had been here before, but in this, I had gone home, and everyone said, oh, it doesn't work. You went there and it didn't work. No, I didn't work. I didn't put the work in when I got home, and I had some health issues, especially with my feet, and it was getting where I was going to need an operation in my feet unless I had lost some weight and incorporated exercise again. So desperation brought me here. That's
right.
The truth.
Okay.
And being really upset that I had allowed myself to gain I didn't gain all the weight that I had lost when I came here last year, but I had gained a third of it.
What did you lose the first time you came?
I lost just over 3.5 stone in 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks?
Yes. And it was not difficult to do in this environment, and in the conquer food environment, it wasn't difficult to do, but it was difficult to get my head around the whole process when I got home. So for the first 2 months, I slogged it every morning, running up and down a hill, doing exercises at the top.
Yeah.
And then just one day I didn't get up.
Just one day.
One day after about 8 weeks. And I stopped cycling, and I just let it slip. Yeah,
right.
That's how easy it was.
What slipped? Was it the physical activity and then food, or was it both kind of came together?
Both came together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, I heard a great saying when I've been here, and that's one sunny day does not make a summer.
Yeah.
And that's very true. You fall off the wagon, just go on again. It's not the end of the world. It's not that you just can't, the next day, just start again. It's only one day.
Yeah.
And I know that now. And it's such a simple thing. And you would think you would take that on board and learn that, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But I know now.
Right. Well, there's actually an important difference between the two camps that you've come to now, because obviously people won't know that we have top camp and low camp, and top camps, you know, more focused on the training aspect with mindset, but just not as much. But for yourself now, you've come back onto the Conquer Food program, which is a different location. And how do you feel about that program, and what do you think is different about that?
The difference is it's a smaller group, and the trainers we've had, Ash, you've been one of those trainers, the main trainer, and it's the dedication to the individual. You know, if someone has an issue with maybe a sore foot, you just make the issue go away. It's gone. This is what to do, and if you do that, that'll help, and it does. Yeah. And so it's having trust in a professional that they're giving you the correct advice. And it took a bit for me to trust. And after, I think, about the 4th day, I was okay. I trusted everybody. Yeah. Because I had to let myself just leave myself open to that your advice was the correct advice. Yeah. And it was, and it has been. And it's been mind-blowingly different for me this time, in that I have better flexibility, better mobility. Yeah. I've trusted that the exercises you're given will not damage me. I was always fearful of that, and that's not how it's gone. So this time, not that happened the last time, nothing like that, but the difference is that with a smaller group, you have more time to focus. Yeah. And it's all just good. It's just works. It just works.
And also, there's a lot more time when the individuals have to confront the behaviours behind why they've been binge eating or why they've been procrastinating.
Yes, and the groups and the one-to-ones have been great. And I've never really had a problem speaking about what's caused this for me to be heavy and for me to have no discipline and or very little discipline around myself. I'm very disciplined in my job and other people, but not with myself. Yeah. I've never really, for about the past 20 years, never really focused on myself at all. There was no self-love, and there was no just investment in me, and that's the number one. If you've got the health and the mobility to keep going, then you haven't got anything else. Yeah. So, and it's been good. The groups, everybody's brought something different to it, and I've learned something new, genuinely something new every day. Yeah, it's always those little nuggets that you pick up, and there'll be some things that you think, wow, that's just going to make such a difference to my life. And to someone, it might be nothing. But throughout the program, it happens a lot, doesn't it? You'll hear something or you'll learn something, and you'll actually realise you're very good at something. For example, spinning. You were, let's be honest about it, you were having, anxiety, self-doubt. There's been times, which you can probably talk to, where you get in your own head and you can have a mentality where you decide you can't do something.
and you get really emotional. And what goes on there?
That's just absolute, just self-doubt, just that I can't do that. Don't be ridiculous. How am I even meant to try that? Everybody else has had a go at that and I haven't. And no, there's no way. And you always say the right thing, Ash. You can. Let's just show you. And that's really changed for me. I'm very open, and just the spin class was absolutely mind-blowing. It's not easy. It's very hard. The first time I did it, my breathing was really awful. My lungs were the problem, not my legs or my arms. It's my lungs, and it's been fantastic to learn to breathe again, breathe properly. And it just became, it's still very difficult, the spin class, but it's so enjoyable. It's just...
It's good, isn't it?
High energy, fun.
Low injury risk, no impact through the body.
Unless you fall off the bike, of course.
Yeah, I'm more likely to do that than anybody else. So
I've learned the value of a towel over the handlebars.
Yeah.
But the actual class, and I would never have done that in a month of wet Sundays. And you just showed us all that it is possible just to roll up at a class and just do it. And I would, and I will. I love the spin class. Yeah,
that's good. And also, you've done for me particularly well with the strength training as well.
Yep.
A lot of self-doubt there when we started.
Yeah, I was afraid I was going to hurt myself because I came here with shoulder and neck issues, and I've had that for over 2 years. I've not slept very well. I've more slept sitting upright than I've done anything else. I just couldn't lie down. And through the strengthening and flexibility.
And a lot of mobility work as well that we've done. Yeah.
And learning the difference has been brilliant. And it's just changed. I'm now sleeping flat in a bed, no problem at all. And the range of motion in my shoulders and my neck, and trusting you, Ash, with the fact that you would only give me exercises and that were going to value me. But I was full of self-doubt, I get over that, and then
you give me a hard time sometimes though.
Yeah, I do.
You can be quite upfront, can't you, and quite abrupt. And
yes,
some people are like, obviously, because I understand you and I know that a lot of the time it's because deep down you're actually quite anxious or you're giving yourself self-doubt. So I just need to reassure you, and then I know you're going to do it and do really well. So, you don't have to be right at the beginning, but at the end, you want to end up at the right place, and you always do that.
Yeah, I'm the classic. I walk in, like the gym facility is the class. I walk in and I am fearful from the minute I step on the grey carpet. I'm never going to be able to do this. Why? I actually said to you the other day, why am I doing this? I'll never do this as long as I live ever again. So what is the point? You say, because it will help.
Yeah.
And it did. And
people watching just have a little bit of an idea of what I have to go through now with Liz on a daily basis.
No, not always. But yes, and it is about trust, and it is about, I suppose, for the trainers, it's getting to know the clients and you have a lot of knowledge, and knowing that I'm not saying it just to be awkward, or I'm genuinely quite fearful about it.
Yeah.
But as the weeks have gone on, it's been so much better. And I really have enjoyed absolutely everything.
You've been a pleasure, and I think you're a really good example as well. I spoke to Kate, who I think is exactly the same, because obviously you're a bit older, and within a group there's such a mix of ages, abilities, and reasons why people are at camp. And I think people can look to you and be like, oh my God, that woman's like 3 times my age, which is possible in this group right now, isn't it? Yes. And you're absolutely crushing it.
And it's very nice. There's 2 younger females that are in the camp, and they say to me constantly, you're amazing. And I didn't believe it to start with. I just thought they were just saying that because they wanted to, I don't know, just wasting words.
Yeah.
But they're not. People don't waste words, and it's not like that. And they're very encouraging, and they're good to be around, good people to be around. And not just because they say nice things, it's because they try their very best as well. And we're not
Yeah.
all good at everything, but we all try everything. And I don't know what that piece of equipment was yesterday, Ash, but I was thrilled to get on it. What was it called?
It's called the GHD machine.
GHD
Yeah,
machine.
it looks scary.
Oh,
and there was another one you were terrified of, but then loved it.
I know.
Standard Liz.
Yeah. So I've learned. Wow, I've got to experience some really beneficial exercises and pieces of equipment that I would never have even been open to
Yeah.
6 weeks ago. Not been open at all.
Brilliant. It's good to hear. What would you say your mental health was like prior to coming to camp?
It was really low. I was very stressed, and it wasn't all work. It was a lot to do with myself. I had, I was never good enough. Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I was never good enough, or I could have done that so much better. Despite people telling me all the time, "Oh, what a great job!" and "Wow, you did that." People are amazed at the things I can do with stones and plants and a bit of gravel.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. It's always interesting when someone's good at something.
Yeah.
People always seem to take an interest. I do personally when someone's mastered something or they've got this unusual skill aside to them. I think it's just draws people in, and the mental health side of it was tough to address. Yeah, can be quite hard to talk. Is your husband, is he really supportive? Do you talk to him about
my husband's magic?
everything?
Yes, I do. Very open, and he tries his very best. But he's out of his league most of the time.
Yeah.
That's just basically it. He is. He's a husband. He's not a therapist. He's not a counsellor.
What's his background again? You did tell
John's
me.
a hill shepherd.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, that's where we met, gathering sheep on Brockdarg Hill in Glenshee.
Has he got the very old school, like, there's no such thing as mental health, crack on type approach?
No, John's no, he's very understanding. And no, he was brought up very differently from me. So he was an only child with just his mum.
Right.
Where I was brought up with 6 brothers and sisters. So I've had a lot of family around me, but John has been alone for a long time.
Yeah.
And so he that's been difficult because he's been sort of pushed into a family that's big, massive, but there was only ever him. But apart from that, John does really help.
Yeah.
Time and patience. He has oodles of it. Just, yeah.
I feel like I need to meet him.
He's
just
very
to see what kind of man he is.
He's a very
Because you are
man.
intimidating.
Am I?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You can be. And I think that when people first meet you, I've seen it, they're a little bit like, oh my God,
Okay.
she's going to throw me out of a window.
No.
And it's quite the opposite, isn't
yes,
it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. And yes, it is. And John's very opposite to me. Very opposite.
Very placid.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't like going to the pub. Doesn't smoke. Doesn't really swear.
Does he exercise? Or does his job just keep him fit?
He's retired. He's been retired for 10 years now. And he's just kept himself fit. He just does his best.
Right.
Yep.
So how far into the program are we now?
This is going into week 5.
Week 5. And what differences in the mental health have you experienced, would you say?
Oh, I'm confident. I believe in myself.
Yeah.
I have no issues really now. I know. I just, I wake up in the morning, I'm very glad to be alive.
Yeah.
That sounds really corny, but I always say my gratitudes when I get up. And I think writing things down, journaling, has been a game changer.
Journaling is well underrated.
Wow.
Really is.
And I'm so into it. I've got 3 different types, 3 different types of journals. And
Are you doing the artist's way or not? Or are you just doing where you're just writing it in a plain journal?
No, I write it in a journal that tells you what it's looking for.
Okay, like a guided journal.
A guided journal. And then I just have an open, a normal diary. And then I have a planner.
Yeah.
I quite like doodling. I like drawing, so I'll draw my feelings, or I'll draw something like I like drawing the exercise that we've done that day that's made a difference to my life.
Right.
Or I just the weather, what the weather is, or how I'm feeling, and it's been smiley face. Apart from day 1, 2, and 3, it's been smiley faces. So I think
what would day 1, 2, and 3?
Oh, very sad, very sad and crying. Yes.
It does take a few days to adapt, doesn't it? I mean, and you knew what you were in for as well.
Yes. I was very fortunate that sugar is not actually my downfall.
Yeah.
It's just volume of food. And so I didn't get any of the withdrawal symptoms, and I don't drink tea or coffee. So
right. That's helpful. People don't realise what symptoms people experience when they come here, when they stop eating pretty much just processed food, which is a lot of refined sugars, etc. And the effects it has on their health is dramatic, isn't it?
Yes,
I've seen it.
Yeah,
time and time again.
They usually there was one fellow camper, and they had headaches, they felt vomit, they felt very nauseous, just not in a good place at all, and they thought they were sick.
They don't realise what's happening because they've never had that experience before. They've never actually withdrawn from those foods, and it's amazing. And I notice, obviously, especially when I've had a week off and I come back, the changes in people's complexions. And have you observed that yourself?
Yes, I have.
You've been here a while. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely. I have learned that if you put junk into your food, if you put junk into your body is just junk.
Yeah. And you look crappy as well, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. Everything. Yeah. My nails have never been so long.
Yeah, it's crazy. Your eye whites as well.
Yeah.
And your complexion.
Yeah. Your hair changes, and you just have no idea until you stop eating all that rubbish you put into yourself, just how well your body can be.
Yeah. And it's not even rocket science, is it?
No.
It's just actually very, very simple.
And I've never been hungry since, and I really haven't. And the meals are very sufficient, and the snacks are fantastic. You get what you get for a reason. It's just very satisfying.
It's amazing. And that's one thing that I really like about the program at Low Camp is the education. The education around food, behaviours, habits that you've had, and just changing those behaviours and really getting into the reasons behind the overeating, the reasons behind the binge eating. You can out-train, you can train here, you can lose weight, but it's like putting a plaster on, isn't it? If you don't get in there and change those beliefs and those thoughts and the reasons behind why you were doing it, you are likely to go back to those behaviours and slip into those old ways, which you've experienced yourself. Yes,
totally. And another very simple saying I've learned is that you cannot outrun a bad diet.
It will get you.
Yes, it does. It did get me. And I'm going home with I've already done it. I've got menus written out. I have bought tubs to put food in the fridge, and I used to do it every Friday night and Saturday, make soup.
Yeah.
For the freezer, but I'm just going to do meals as well as soup, and I'm going to do enough for 4 days.
Yeah.
And have it refrigerated so it's there, so I've got no excuses. And I've learned that from the Conquer Food program, that planning,
organisation is key, isn't it?
Yes, it is definitely being organised. And I've got that many planners. I surely could not be anything but organised. So, yeah.
Brilliant. I've got a good feeling this time that you're really going to crack it. I really do.
I have no negative thoughts in my head at all. None.
There has been a time where you found yourself in a situation at camp where you could have binged. It was early on.
It was.
You found yourself in Bridge North.
Yes.
And explain that process that went on there.
So I went into town, and I was in the supermarket, and there was rows and rows and rows and rows of just vile food. I walked up and down. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, it might be another time. I don't know. Roll with it.
Okay. So up and down. I went in to get cards. I didn't go, and I took somebody into town. Went in to get cards, and I bought the cards, and then I thought, didn't interest me at all. Nothing interests me. The other thing that you may be talking about is on a Friday.
Yeah.
When you're, so you have to wait 4 weeks before you can go into town, and that gives you enough time to process what you're doing, why you're here, what you're doing it for, the reasons you're doing it for, and to get your mind over the buying junk foods that do not serve you at all. And everybody else is away for the day. I'm the only one there. And I thought, blow me, I could order a Chinese meal to be delivered.
Nobody would know.
Nobody would know. And I got the menu up on my phone, and I thought, wow, yeah, I could do that. And I pondered over it for about an hour. And then tea was in the fridge, because it's prepared for you.
Yeah.
If you're staying in camp, it's already prepared for you. And I thought, Chinese takeaway, or what's in the fridge? So, you know what? I quite like tuna. I'll just have what's in the fridge. It would have been very easy to do it, but 5 weeks ago, I would have done that.
Yeah.
I would have. But 4 weeks ago, I didn't do that.
How empowering is it after
empowering.
You've got over that?
Oh my God. It was
feeling.
like, wow, the penny has dropped. Finally. I do not need that kind of sustenance. It's not even sustenance, is it? I don't need that type of food anymore. And if I do, I'll have it as a treat. If I'm out for a meal with a family or whatever, and we chose to go to a Chinese, I would have that. It would be no problem. I wouldn't have it 2 days or 3 days or 4 days in a row. And that was just a sort of light bulb moment for me. So, I was planning that. It was a secret plan, like I would do at home, secretly eating.
But when you've done that back at home and you've had that Chinese,
yes,
does it ever stop there at that Chinese?
Yes, it does.
So it would just be that?
It would just be that, because it's...
Will it be that consistently?
Yes.
So it's not just that, and then the next day you're back on it, it's been that, and the next day it's
been that.
Because we know it's not what you eat, it's what you repeat.
Yes.
So you're repeatedly eating crap.
4 nights a week.
Yeah.
And then I would go home and have my tea so that John wouldn't know that I'd eaten that rubbish.
Yeah.
And the food at home is always good. It's always good. You know, we are big believers in kill it, cook it, eat it. And I grow a lot of vegetables. We eat loads of vegetables. Have nothing but nice beef, venison, duck, pheasant, lamb.
So it's almost like you've had to go out of your way to eat that crap.
Yeah.
It's almost like more of an effort than eating actual food.
Yes. It was almost too like I was actively seeking it out, you know, just to kind of...
Like a form of self-harm almost.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Totally self-harm. And people... I think the conception, or preconception is that the self-harm is a razor blade cutting your arm. Then you cover your arm up.
Yeah.
Nobody ever sees it. Or knocking yourself against the wall and getting bruises. But it's not only that.
Yeah.
It isn't. Overeating, gluttonizing is definitely a form of abuse, to self-abuse. Yeah. And it's not attractive.
We know it's no good for us. You know, don't you?
Absolutely.
But yeah, you can repeat it.
Yeah, it's an easy option. Let's just go there, get something to eat. Yeah. For me, it was, the big thing was to eat it in my car as well. So that's even worse. You know, I wasn't taking it to a table and eating it. I was eating it in my car.
Yeah. So like secret.
Yes,
eating.
Absolutely. And then also what I did was with any of the waste product, I would put it back into a bag and stop at the first green bin that I came to and put it in there, so I wasn't taking it home. And yeah, there just is a time where you just have to stop doing that. And this is it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How much weight have you lost so far then, Liz, on this 5 weeks?
Well, I think it's nearly 22 pounds.
Okay, so just shy of 2 stone.
Yeah.
That's not bad going.
No.
Lots of inches lost as well.
Yes. I can't remember what they are, but yes.
And how much time have you got left?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So coming towards the end now, and it's gone. Well, it always goes fast.
It does, yes.
It flies by, doesn't it?
Yeah. But it's not been difficult. After the first 3 days, it's not been difficult. It's just flowing. It flows really easily. I think after the 3 days, the hardest thing for me was believing in others to make me better, help me get better.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about fixing me. I didn't need fix. I wasn't broken. I just needed my brain to be readjusted slightly to realise.
Rewiring, yeah.
Yes, a bit of rewiring there, and to realise that what yous were teaching me, what I was being taught here is fact. It's absolute fact. And if you follow it, you're going to do fine. And I think I'm going to do fine.
I think you are. This time, big difference.
Yeah, big difference. And
I think
the
you're
mental,
more ready.
Yep, the mental shift is there. I no longer have self-doubt. I'm quite confident that this is something I'm going to carry forward. And I believe it'll be quite easy to do.
There'll be people out there similar to yourself that are listening to this. If you could say anything to them who might have a lot of self-doubt about coming here, what would your message be to those people?
My message would be to research, read, and make a phone call.
Yeah.
You would be foolhardy to go into anything without knowing anything about it. But this program works. It just works.
It's very powerful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Well, I think that brings us to an end, Liz.
Thank you.
Let's finish on 3 words that sum up the Conquer Food program.
Freeing. It's very freeing. Liberating.
One more. Could point at me and say legend.
No. Massively uplifting.
Uplifting.
Yeah.
Love it. Liz, you've been ace. Thanks very much. I hope people at home have enjoyed this episode of Bootcamp Raw. Thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you.